Hello, it's Joy with Decor Made with Joy. Hope y'all are doing all right. Today we are going to make a moss wreath. And we're going to attempt to replicate the one that was hanging on the door. Here are all my supplies I've pulled. Here is a 14-inch moss wreath that I compressed into an oval. And I like working with the moss wreaths. And we are going to clip up all of our materials. This is just a piece of ficus, and I'm showing you where to make your clips. I'm not going to use that color, but I do use some ficus in this. And the first thing we're going to do is make an upper hanger. I'm going to use some fair silk ribbon, and I learned this hanger technique from Ashley Greenwood with Three Little Greenwoods Creations. And you measure out the length that you want your hanger to be, and then you pinch your ribbon close to the moss, and you take a small little zip tie and zip tie it close to the wreath. And then you're going to take a longer zip tie and place it there as your hanger. Then you're going to trim the excess of both of those off. The first one you're going to cinch really tight, but the one that acts as the hanger you leave as a loop. Then you're going to measure off your ribbon. You want the back ribbon. If it was ribbon that didn't have a finished side, we would flip it around, but in the case of the fair silk, it is finished on both sides. So I left the orange side visible. So it just makes a nice little loop for your moss wreath. Now we're going to start looking at all of our materials that I have gathered. This is just a pick that has some berries and leaves and various things on it. And here is some birch leaves that have some feathery willowness to them. And then here's another pick with some pumpkin on it that I'm going to use. And so got to get our glue pot all warmed up, and our wreath is hanging on the easel. And I'm going to start in with a little bit of orange ficus here in the middle. That's the only piece of orange ficus I had, but this client wanted more yellow in this wreath anyway. So I'm going to use the rest of the ficus. I'm going to use as a gold kind of color. And I'm just fanning that out. We're just building up a little base, and we're going to layer all of these florals in. Moss wreaths are made out of straw, so you can just poke most of your florals right in, dip them in glue, and then poke them right in. If you have trouble, you can pick it, or you could take the end of your scissors or a screwdriver and make a pilot hole. But most of the time I can just get the pick right in there. And then on top of the ficus, I'm going to take a whole pick and trim it down and poke it up through the moss wreath to get my swoop of, because most of you build up most of the floral design below the wreath on these moss wreath. So now I'm just starting to add all the different florals that I want to add. I definitely want that pumpkin there somewhere, but I'm going to do these vivid orange leaves first because we are layering all sorts of stuff in there. This client likes all the vivid fall colors, so it really makes for a pretty design. And I just placed that last pick behind the whole pick that I put in. And then this is pip berries, I believe. No, that's some more of the leaves. So we're going to add that. And I did have to pick one of those. And so, again, we're just building up all that lower florals. I'm going to go ahead and add my pumpkins in now. And I have some yellow leaves and yellow filler because the client wanted some yellow in here. And so this pick that I'm showing you right now has some little acorns and so forth on it. So I'm just putting that on one side. Here are the pip berries. And I'm going to add some pip berries up top on the other side and then down below. Pip berries are a highly searched article on Pinterest, so a lot of people must like that in their wreaths. So I make sure to add those when it's appropriate, and I have some pretty orange ones. So I'll put some above, and then I'm putting some down below. So now I'm just taking an old floral stem and making a pick out of it to add my bow to. I use the bind wire and wire it onto the pick, cut it down to a size I can use, and then I can add my ribbon to it. And dip it in the glue and just poke it right down in there. And then just fluff your ribbon. I take those tails and tuck them in amongst all the foliage. The orange tail, I'm going to cut off a little bit and just overlap it with the fair silk. This is an Ashland pick with just gold, and I'm going to add some of that to my ribbon since this client wanted some yellow visible. All right, next I have an orange filler flower that I'm just going around my bow and having that stick out on both sides of that ribbon. All the while fluffing and placing that foliage exactly where I want it. So okay, what's next? Let's see. Oh, since the client wanted some yellow, I'm going to do one big black-eyed Susan that just hangs down. And that's all the stuff I have that I could use, but I'm not going to use all that. I'm just going back in with some leaves I'd already cut to kind of fill out those sides and cover up some of the attachment sites. And so you end up with a really lush looking fall wreath on this little moss wreath base. It's just really a pretty design, I think. So let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer anything.